everybody back. And pictured here is one of my favorite Wu-Tang members, RZA. He's also was a ninja or ninja master or something in one of the G.I. Joe movies. Alright, so here we have another project completed. This is a 1/18 scale, so for G.I. Joe 3 3/4 inch, 4-inch action figures. Was contacted by a gentleman who wanted to do something for a Detolf. So if you guys don't know what a Detolf is, it is a glass shelf that is specifically made by IKEA. It is spelled DETOLF. If you guys look it up, you'll see it. It has about 4 levels, and it's a glass case, and it's a very popular case amongst action figure collectors. So a lot of times people they basically make these IKEAs a display case. So, or excuse me, well, it's a case to display. But what they do is they take each shelf or some of the shelves and they go a little all out. And then just instead of putting action figures, they actually have these dioramas built to fit into one of the shelves, and then they can pose their figures, display their figures. So he was looking for something that was related to Acid Storm, which is a game, an online game. I don't think it's a platform game. I don't think it's for like the Xbox or PlayStation. I think it's more of an online game. The research, because I just started looking up Acid Rain, didn't get a lot of images, but basically it's kind of a war-torn type of game. So he wanted something where it was consistent with that. So real quick, let's go through the measurements. So we have about, let me see, and we're gonna go with 13 inches across. The height of this is 14 inches tall, and it should be about 10 inches, I would say 10 and a half, well, 10 inches deep. 10 inches deep. It's just always think about the fact that the walls put about an inch into the ground, so it does take about an inch away, but this will fit an IKEA Detolf shelf. So how I went about this, all right, so first and foremost, this is insulation foam board. The kind that I usually use is these days are the ones that Lowe's carries, which is the greenish ones. So what I did is cut this out to fit to size. It's magnetized as it always is, so it allows me to put it together and take it apart. In terms of shipping, it also allows the new owner of this dial to put it away if he wanted to, if he didn't want to display it anymore or what have you. So few new things that I used here. So I've used this before in the dojos, but this little mesh that you see in the background, let me just not cover the light, is I was at work and a friend of mine was opening up some computer, some boxed up computer piece. So that was, some of that was wrapped in there, and it's just like a plastic, like a little plastic thing with holes in them or whatever. But I thought it would look perfect in this type of environment where, you know, you're trying to secure your windows or what have you. I went with the bottom as a plexiglass look, but this is kind of that I always forget the name of the paper. Horrible. This here was a cell phone charger that no longer worked. So it's kind of metal, which is cool. So what I did is I just cut a piece of it, used some zip ties to tie it in there, and then gave it kind of that rusty look. The door is just you know, foam board cut out, pushed back. Some I think these are skinny sticks that I used to kind of frame inside of the door. I also framed this up with skinny sticks. Didn't have to frame this up, which was great. Finally found a it's funny because you work for years and years, and like sometimes the easiest techniques that later on when you find out about these techniques, you're like, yo, wow. So a lot of times whenever I don't frame stuff up, I would just kind of put some glue gun on the other side of it, let it sit for a little bit, then do the other side. So what I did is I just put 4 pins, 1 pin in each corner, so I can lay this so it doesn't fall through. I set in the glue, and it set in just fine, so that worked out. One of the things that I wanted to do is make this a cement building. So what I did is cement, but then I painted it, and then what happened is you can tell some of the stuff that fell out. You can see the cement underneath, which is the original color of the building. This brown and yellowish tan looking color are all just painted onto the cement, but the wall itself is a solid cement wall. Wanted to do some cinder blocks on this end. And also, last minute, I asked if there was graffiti much in the acid rain world. He said there was, so I put a little bit of graffiti, not too much. He also wanted me to build him a couple props, so I just made this this palette real quick out of some scrap balsa and basswood. This is just that paper that I use, the corrugated cardboard. Just a piece of it to make it look like a piece of rusty tin siding roof type stuff. And just made a couple of these. Just cut these some balsa wood and just painted them or whatever. So I told him I'd make a couple different props so he can move around. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 1/18 scale. Again, this is not normally the scale I work in, but I will take on projects every once in a while if they seem interesting and fun. This fence is just the mesh. I was told the other day it's not called sewing mesh, but I swore it was called sewing mesh. But anyway, this is a sewing mesh, and this makes more sense for this scale versus usually when I do a fence for the 6-inch scales, I do the gutter mesh, which is obviously the squares are bigger. So I try to always size stuff out. So this became a fence. First time I've used this material for a fence, and it's just dowel rods are keeping it together, painted in silver. What else can I say about this? The floor, I did a little something for the floor. So what I did is, first and foremost, I glued some sand and some other debris on there. Then I painted it in black. Then I threw some more sand on top of the wet black. Then I painted it in, I want to say it was like a khaki. And then I threw a little more sand, and then I just painted it in 3 different colors. So you got like a khaki, like a golden brown, and like a darker brown. All these pieces are permanent. This is just pieces that fell from that cinder block wall. This piece fell from up here. So this is all permanent pieces. The only pieces that move are these 4 pieces here that he can move around anywhere. Everything else is pretty much permanently tied down. And I think that is it for this. I don't think there's much else to say. As always, whenever you're working on a Detolf type diorama, it is a glass case, so I always have to make sure that I'm painting the other side, both sides, or in this case I didn't have to paint it, but make sure it's presentable enough so that it looks good on both sides, because again, this is sand, will be sitting in a glass shelf, so you can see this side of it, and that side of it. So always take that into consideration when you're doing something for a Detolf. I'll post some pictures at the end of this video, and that is pretty much it, I think. And I'll just take it apart real quick so you guys can see. Sometimes I forget to do that, and I get called on. I do. Take it apart so I can check it out. So again, magnetized. Back wall's magnetized. Let me show you guys that from the back. And what I did is to keep this glued in, I literally just did some kind of dot strips of the glue gun, but the back is usually always, where you can see where the green foam that was used and so forth. Yep. So once you kind of stack it up together, you put a 4-inch figure in front of it, stacked up. It's probably 3 inches, so it's easy enough to put away. All right, guys. Any questions, comments? Leave them at the end. My apologies for my stuffy nose. I got up this morning stuffy. I get up stuffy a lot. It's either the AC, or I used to live in Lawrence, the rug. It's just always something stuffing me up. Anyway, I am done, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.